Alright, so this is the first episode of Wow Such Interviews, or this is the working title. I don't think I should put Wow Such and everything, but it's an interview nonetheless. And today we got one of my best YouTube friends out there. We're having Beejie Bean in for my first interview. What's up, Beej?
Hey, what's up?
Got a sip of Patron here, so a little bit sharp there, but let's go ahead and get into some questions. A lot of people probably want to ask, where did you get the name Beejie Bean?
Well, it's a nickname a friend of mine gave me from high school a few years back, and I just stuck with it ever since. So, for my YouTube channel name and gamer tag name, because my full name is Brianna Johnson, so the initials of my name is B and J, so everyone would just call me Beej, but then, yeah, my friend used to call me Beejie Bean for something special, so I liked it.
That's pretty cool because a lot of people will just call you BJ, but you went with BG. Now, how old are you, by the way?
20, turning 21 this year in April.
Hey, that's my birthday as well. I turned 26
sweet.
in April. April babies. And where are you from?
Well, Australia, obviously.
Well, specifically where in Australia? Like, I don't know anything about Australia. Like, how's it split up and all that?
Oh, well, it's split up in a few states. I live in the state of Victoria. It's sort of near the bottom of Australia, sort of. I don't want to give away too much information where I
Oh,
live.
yeah,
So,
you don't want people creeping on you, because I understand you're a female YouTuber, so you're always going to get some creeps no matter what.
Already gotten a couple already, but yeah.
Okay, so you started your YouTube channel in 2012, and your very first YouTube video was the top 10 Crash games in your opinion.
Yeah, well, my top favorite, yeah.
So you're a big fan of Crash Bandicoot.
Yes, I am. It was probably my first game, I think. First PlayStation 1 game I played when I was like 3 years old or something. I don't know,
That's
I
the
can't
first
remember.
one you remember?
Yeah, Crash, yeah. Always been my favorite game.
See, you and me are polar opposites because I was a Nintendo gamer and Mario 64 was my first. So you know the whole Nintendo versus PlayStation debate. I didn't play much PlayStation growing up, but you made a 12-part claymation series on Crash Bandicoot. So you showed quite an interest in this franchise.
Yeah, and not just that, I also played Spyro growing up and Sly Cooper. So I'm a real fan of like the PlayStation exclusives. So yeah, big fan.
Everyone wants to know, well, you're an animator. You spend a majority of your time animating, putting together the Left 4 Dead SFMs. But what got you interested in animation in the first place?
I don't know. I suppose growing up, I always loved like the CGI animation films from like DreamWorks and Disney, and obviously cartoon shows like Simpsons and Family Guy. I just love that sort of style, and yeah. I don't know. I really like. I suppose when I was little, I always wanted to be an animator or a cartoonist or something. That was sort of always my dream job. So, yeah, I started putting together some animations. Yeah.
Well, that covered my next question because I was going to ask what some of your inspirations. And you and me have exchanged quite a few Simpsons memes and knowledge.
Yeah.
Yeah, and plus you are extremely knowledgeable on the Simpsons. I'm quite jealous of that. Your first route with animation that we can see is through claymation. Why did you start with claymation? Because I know that can be a very difficult route to take.
I don't know. I remember actually back in school, but the year before, we did like claymation stuff as just something fun for an activity, and we made our own little movies. Mine wasn't that good or anything, but I suppose I just took inspiration from there to keep going on. I don't know, just a hobby, something fun to do.
I understand. I dabbled in claymation back when I was in early high school, and I would make like comics and stuff. So I understand just dabbling in that kind of stuff. Once you finished your claymation series with the Crash Bandicoot stuff, you started using Microsoft Paint and Windows Movie Maker. They were like the bare essentials of just doing the like smallest stuff. I mean, everyone's messed with Microsoft Paint, but you used it and used it to such a degree that it became an actual decent animation style. And you used it with games like Spyro, Crash, Portal, Ratchet and Clank with a few Easter eggs. Like I know you have The Last of Us and Assassin's Creed snuck in there.
Yeah.
Now, was this the first step into hand-drawn animation for you, or did you like used to draw and scribble in your book at school and stuff?
Yeah, I used to do all sorts of like drawings and that back at school, comics and whatnot. So.
Did you ever get in trouble with your...
I remember actually yeah, I did.
Yeah, I used to sketch in my book all the time at school. My parents, I started dropping a grade and they got on me for it. Now, did you ever get in trouble with teachers and parents and stuff?
Oh, definitely. I actually remember back in grade 7, the teachers threatened I'd have to repeat the year if I didn't stop drawing in my workbooks.
Were you just exclusive to doing PlayStation besides Portal? Was there other stuff you wanted to try but just never did?
Left 4 Dead was always something I wanted to try. it would have been
Left 4
hard
Dead
to get
never
all the
came to
lines.
PlayStation?
No, I wanted to do Left 4 Dead. I like before I did the SFM animations, I always wanted to do something Left 4 Dead related, like animation or whatever. But I realized it might have been a bit too tough to do in Microsoft Paint because I was gonna make it full on like action like I do with SFM. It wouldn't have worked.
Yeah,
So
I could see Microsoft Paint because that's a very time-consuming medium if you're trying to make it like a serious animation style.
yeah, definitely.
And
I think the Ratchet and Clank one took like almost 10 months from memory. I
wow.
remember working on it every day at school because I didn't really do any actual work. I just work on my animations. I got away with it somehow.
Now, how time-consuming was it? You said it was 10 months. Was it difficult for you, or was it just something you enjoyed so much the time just flew by?
It was difficult, but it was a lot of fun because I do it on my little school laptop that we were given at school, and I just work on that like nearly every night or whatever. Just draw a couple of little sprites up and whatnot, and put a background to it and that, and just I think the Ratchet and Clank one was definitely the toughest one to make there, definitely.
Okay. Now, I've noticed in a lot of your unique drawings and your animation style that you always make the left eye just a bit smaller than the right. What started that little trend of yours?
I don't know. It's just really cartoony. I don't know. It's just my own little style. Yeah, I don't know if there's a real explanation for that. I liked it. It's very cartoony. I like very cartoony stuff, not so much realistic looking stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, because you can always look between animators and they always have like certain trends they always do. Like The Simpsons, they do the yellow skin. Family Guy, they'll always have the eyes together in most characters, or they'll just have a certain body style. You'll always notice that even on YouTube animation, like Ego Raptor, he always drew his certain characters in a very certain like wacky way.
Yeah. Everyone has their own little style.
Now, I noticed that you dipped your toes into character model animation. You did Gmod around 2 years ago with your first Gmod video. Now, you didn't do much with it, though. You went to SFM shortly after. What was Gmod like for you, and how come you did the transition so quickly?
I always wanted to use Gmod when I was like 13 or something. That was what I really wanted to start making Left 4 Dead stuff on. I didn't get my proper PC till like 2015, so I could never play it, till then. And it was, I found it difficult to sort of use, and it was fun though. But I don't know, then I discovered Source Filmmaker and I just went to that straight away because I realized, I wanted to do something serious, not just the silly stuff. So, but I got to do one Gmod like animation and people found it very funny. They got a good laugh out of it and I'm happy with that. So I'm just happy I got to make at least one video of it.
And of course, the very first Gmod video you did was, of course, Left 4 Dead, and you did, I think it was Zoe and Ellis? Or was that the
Zoe
SFM
was
one?
on the swing. Oh, I did both of them. Both videos were like Zoe Ellis related sort of stuff. Not as a shipping kind of thing, but just them together. So yeah.
Well, we already know who you ship anyway, so. At what point did you say, I'm going to stop doing the... you said you got your PC and then you fully went to doing the character model animation with Gmod and SFM, but what really made you say, I'm done with Microsoft Paint, I'm going to start just doing this exclusively?
It became too much work in the end. I remember doing I started a Spyro the Dragon one for
Yeah, I saw
friend.
It's unfinished, and
are
you ever going to go back to that, or are you just done with that?
Probably not. No. It was going to be bigger, but I don't know. I just got a bit tired of it. It was just too much work. I already did a few of them already, and I just got bored of it. So
I understand. You got burnt out on doing that kind of style.
yeah.
You're not going to get burnt out on doing the SFMs, are you?
I really hope not.
I can understand, though, if you
I
do.
can't finish till it's done.
Oh, I feel you, man. That's how I feel with all the special infected profiles doing. Once I get my mind on something, I just keep going. But at the end of the day, it's all about what you are focused on, though.
Yeah.
Now, I know everyone's waiting to get to this part. Now, your biggest series, the Left 4 Dead SFM series, it's gathered millions and millions of views, and for the right reasons. Now, why did you choose Left 4 Dead as your main source of animation and creation? I know you said you were interested in it, but what about Left 4 Dead was like, I'm going to make this a thing?
So the inspiration, do you mean?
Yeah, like why did you pick Left 4 Dead as the animation and doing the series based on that?
Well, like when I first got into it, Left 4 Dead, and obsessed and fell in love with it, like a few years ago, when I was 13, I always used to just imagine like this would be just make a perfect movie or a TV series. And I always thought that when everyone started doing source filmmaker stuff, like I discovered White Lie and all this other stuff. I
that was by Lone Wolf.
Yeah, Lone Wolf. Yeah. No one did like a proper like series where they actually followed everything that happens in the game, like the story. That no one did their like own little movie adaptation of it. So
you wanted to be like a canon style.
Yeah. No one did that. Everything was just fan made, or they only did little skits, or just nothing. Yeah, that was true to the storyline in that. So that's why I thought I'm gonna give it a shot then. If no one's done it yet, I might as well try it because it was something I always wanted anyways. So yeah.
So basically, you just saw like a void and you wanted to fill that void and make something. You wanted to make you were saying like you wanted to make a series that would continue and just follow the lives of these characters, and you followed that suit.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah.
Now, how come you chose the Left 4 Dead 2 group of survivors over the Left 4 Dead 1? How come you didn't follow it canonically?
Well, out of both games, Left 4 Dead 2 has always been my main passion. I always loved the second group more, but I still like the first group, don't get me wrong. I don't know, I just saw the character dynamics for the second group would work a bit better because, as you know, in the second game, like how it starts off in Dead Center, they don't know each other and they learn each other's names, and that it felt like a proper story, like for these 4 survivors. When the first
it was
one,
more genuine.
Yeah. So I figured it would work better, and there was more lines for the second group, obviously. So
Definitely.
it'd flow a lot better as like a proper movie or a series sort of storyline. So, and it felt more adventurous because you go through like abandoned carnivals and a swamp, and in the middle of a hurricane and whatnot. So I think it'd be just a bit more intense. And,
yeah, that's the thing with the Left 4 Dead 1 is because Left 4 Dead originally was just supposed to be a spoof on horror movies, and all 4 of the original Left 4 Dead 1 campaigns weren't actually supposed to be connected, but just 4 separate titles. And then once it got big, Valve decided, let's connect these and let's make Crash Course. And so that's why it was kind of like there wasn't really a flow to it. It would be hard to connect them all. Whereas Left 4 Dead 2, they have legitimate connections between each campaign.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, do you have plans to follow through the entire slew of campaigns that Left 4 Dead 2 has to offer?
Yeah, that is my goal from the start. When I first started this, I just want to do all the Left 4 Dead 2 campaigns. So from Dead Center all the way to the Parish, and maybe Coldstream. If I feel like still continuing on.
Now, do you consider that canon though? Because that's what a lot of people debate.
Yeah, I don't consider it canon, but I do have a special idea in mind what I can do for Coldstream though, if I ever finish this whole thing and want to keep going. But I'm not going to reveal what it's going to be. But so I have thought about it though.
Where would that be placed then? Say if you were to get done with Hard Rain, would it be after Hard Rain? Would it be after the Parish? Where would it be placed?
Well, after the Parish.
After the Parish, so they would crash the helicopter and go from the stream there?
Yeah, I'd say after the Parish, yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. Now, watching through the episodes you made, it's obvious you spent a lot of time articulately syncing the lips and emotions of the survivors as well as the infected, just to make it more appealing for the viewer. Now, how important is it to you to make such fluid motions and crisp animations with the models you've been provided?
Well, it's pretty important because, to make it seem like it's come to life, one thing I really focus on that I've noticed a lot of other animators seem to lack a bit is the facial expressions.
Oh yeah,
that's one of the main things that really makes the characters come to life. I've watched a lot of SFMs, and even if the animation is just brilliant, they don't focus much on the facial expressions, and it's just kind of dull. It's I don't know, it bothers me a bit. So that's why I really try to do well on their expressions, and of course if they're talking, how they move their arms and whatnot. So I've gotten a lot better at that now, I'd say, from when I first started.
Yeah, ever since I started doing these profiles and putting together clips, which I credit to to accentuate the survivors and special infected, I'm looking for stuff that really does put their character out there, and that's how I came to know you, is because out of all the SFMs out there, you really put the character within these personalities, whereas other people, they would do, like you said, skits and just random stuff, but the faces, they would be doll-like, and you could tell not that there wasn't enough effort put in, but they could have been.
Yeah, exactly.
And now one of my favorite parts about your SFM series for Left 4 Dead is you use the voice lines in the game to your advantage to make an episode have such a good flow.
Shit! Oh, this ain't good. Okay, that's reason to panic. Whoa. Man, this about to get all Baghdad and shit. Holy shit! What is that? Holy shit, big freaking zombie!
We gotta fight that thing?
Are guns even gonna work against that thing?
how long does it take? Because what's it like going through the voice lines and just making a perfect dialogue and script to make it where the story is just come alive?
Each survivor, I'm pretty sure, has over 1,000 lines. They got a lot, and I have to look through each one. I usually, every time before I start a new episode, I go through each one of them, like every time, but just so I can, start to plan what I'm going to do for the script next and that. So yeah, it takes a while, yeah.
So do you spend do you just spend like hours just listening to these and cherry picking which ones be like, oh, that might be good, oh, this might be good, no, I'll save that for later?
Yeah, but I have also written it down in like notes which ones to save, so there are already some lines that I have saved specific moments in the future campaigns. There has been a couple of people who have asked why I didn't use a specific line in the
you
past
have it reserved.
or something. Yeah, so I have it already saved for something in the future. So
you don't want to exhaust all the really good lines because you still got about 4 more campaigns to get through.
Exactly, and that's why I need to make sure I limit stuff because I'm very limited to lines, so I can't use everything all together. So there are some really funny ones that were cut from the game that no one has heard that I cannot wait to use, especially in Dark Carnival, the Tunnel of Love. There are some really good ones in that I can't wait to use.
Now, you were talking to me the other day, it's like sometimes you go through some of these lines and there's just not enough time in the world to fit every single line, like going through the passing and the interactions with the Left 4 Dead 1 survivors. That must have been a plethora because there was a ton of interactions between the first and second group. Yeah,
that was hard to try and plan what lines I was going to use in that. Like, I can't use one of the particular conversations I love is like they used in the trailer was when Rochelle says, she hates Francis's vest, like that whole conversation. I decided I'm going to cut that out because I'd rather make it like she is interested in him and she likes his vest. So it's a shame because I'd love to use that, but I can't because it's sort of like there were all sorts of conversations, like, and there was like a storyline where she does like him and one where she doesn't, and so it was tricky to decide which to use. There were some lines I can't use, unfortunately. Maybe I could just use them for something like an alternate sort of storyline at some point in the future. That'd be fun.
True, like outtakes and what is it called, deleted scenes. Now, what a lot of people don't understand is since you have the limited voice lines, you have to work with that because you don't have these actors to come in and make new lines because honestly I don't even know where they're at this point. Like Coach is Chad L. Coleman. He was working with The Walking Dead. You'd have to be paying him some buku bucks just to get him to come in and record a few lines.
Yeah.
Now, you started your animations at the did you start with the passing or Dead Center?
The passing. Okay,
now why did you decide to start with the passing instead of Dead Center since the passing takes place after Dead Center?
Alright, well, even though I played Left 4 Dead, both Left 4 Deads on Xbox like for years before PC, I never had online, so I could never play the DLC campaign. So when I got it on PC, the first thing I went for was the passing because I always wanted to play it, and so I absolutely just loved that campaign. And that's when I was like, just for a first, like just for fun, just to start off like making a proper little SFM series, I'm just going to start off with the passing because that's the campaign I'm really into. And I didn't know it was going to blow up to be something really popular.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
It was all for a bit of fun. So that's, when I was going to go back and do Dead Center, though, when I realized it was getting quite a few views. But that's why I started off passing. And that's why I'm going back over the passing at the moment because the animation obviously wasn't that good back then as it is now.
Because that was when you're first starting out on your lengthy animations.
Yeah. And there were a few things I wanted to change, so that's why I'm remaking the whole campaign from scratch. Yeah, so I only got one more to do, and then we're on to Dark Carnival. Thank Christ.
That brings me to my next question, which I know a lot of people can't wait for Dark Carnival, but that question is for later. Why did you decide to go and remaster your old work? Why put in the effort to do something that you had already finished?
The main reason why is because there were a lot of people saying that they think of my series as like a proper like movie or a TV series on how Left 4 Dead might actually be. So when I saw that, I was like, and I wasn't really happy with how it looked in the original stuff. I'm one of those sort of people who just doesn't move on. If I'm happy with it, I'll move on, but if not, I gotta go back over it and fix it. So that's why I went back over it and fixed it. Because I also just watch these myself too. Even though I make them, I still love watching them. I just try to be a normal viewer and watch them myself. It's fun. I don't know. I just want it to be good.
Yeah, you're a stickler for perfection when it comes to your own work. And I remember looking at some of your old animations, and some people did note, like, you would have have certain aspects you just couldn't get rid of, like there would be lines in the sky or cylinders out in the distance?
Yeah, because I couldn't really, even though I tried to get help online, I remember, I think I asked the guy who made the Welcome to the New Age. So, well, I don't really like talk to him, but I did ask him for a bit of help with how to get the maps to work. I'm pretty sure that comment is probably still in that video somewhere. And yeah, he helped me out. So even though there were still lines and whatnot, the maps still, they showed up. So, and like I said, it was all for fun. I only had like, I think 300 subs at that time because of the stuff I did before that, and so I wasn't really fussed. It was all just for fun. And yeah, that's another reason why I went back over it, obviously, was to fix up the maps and that, because then I met my friend, his name is Cozy Chicken now, but on YouTube it's SFM Turk, and he helped me out with invisible. You can see like see-through stuff like in the materials and that, and yeah, there were lines in the background of the maps, and he helped me with that. He fixed it, and he's helped me a lot since with particular skins. So like Nick covered in shit, that skin, he helped me with that, and yeah, so.
Which I love that, that little turd on his shoulder looking like a parrot.
Well, that was actually fun because I made that with just a simple chicken leg prop, and I just colored it like dark brown and just shrunk it a bit and just put it like with two others and just put it on his shoulder and locked it on there, and yeah, it works.
You can say it's really shitty.
Yeah.
Now this question I just came up with, but when did you first start noticing your subs just start going up? Like one day you went from 300 to like 2,000 and just kept going and going and going.
I think it really blew up after that third original passing episode, the finale. That's when everyone kept saying, you got to keep making more, this is good. And as it sort of went on, it got, the subs went up more, and it really started to rise after the Atrium finale I did for Dead Center, and it just keeps rising ever since. So,
but I wanted to ask you, when is that passing finale remaster coming out? Because I know people are going to ask that as well. I'm just trying to cover everything so the comments are like, oh, you didn't ask this.
Well, there's really no telling of animation because it also depends when I want to work on it, how long it's going to take. But I am hoping to get this out April. It'd be really cool if I get it released around the same time the original came out like 3 years ago. I reckon that'd be really cool. Because I think the original was about April as well. It wasn't too long. I uploaded it not too long after my birthday, I remember. So if I can get this one out around that time, I reckon that would be really cool.
That would be cool. Yeah. Now, of course, I'm sorry I have to ask this question. I was leading up to it, but
here we go.
Dark Carnival, when's it coming out?
I'm hoping I'm going to try. Well, obviously I need to take a break after I finish this passing remake. Yeah, but then I'm going to really try and I'm going to try and start, because I already have half of what this next episode, because obviously the first part is the highway, and I already have a few ideas for that planned out. So I'm sort of halfway there with what I'm going to do for it, because obviously I need to brainstorm like what I'm going to do for the script and that, make sure I'm happy with it. I'm hopefully I can get that very first Dark Carnival episode out Christmas time. I reckon that'd be awesome.
Yeah, because you'd have if you were to take a month break, you'd have a 7-month period to work on it.
Yeah, and it shouldn't take too long, because this one, it's not a finale. The finale is always hard because the action. So that's why this one's really difficult, and I've been trying to work on it as much as I could before 2017 ended. So, which I'm pretty happy with, because even though I worked really hard for like 4 months, I got 6 minutes of progress done. So I'm happy with that. So that's why I'm really going to try and get this one out soon, hopefully April. But I'm not going to rush it, obviously.
Oh, yeah. Please don't rush it, because rushing it just makes the quality a lot worse.
Yeah, exactly. No, I'm not going to rush it. I'm just going to try and work on it as much as I can each day, if I can.
So when you do finish the Left 4 Dead 2 campaigns, whenever that might be, 10 years from now, 20 years from now, I'm just fucking with you. Do you ever plan on doing the Left 4 Dead 1 campaigns?
Well, at this point, no, because like I've already said before, not enough dialogue. It's going to be kind of dull. There was not enough safe room conversations. It's, I don't think it'll work as well.
There's not enough in-between talk between each of them. It's kind of like generic horror movie talk.
Yeah. I feel like, however, I have given it a thought, and I have had a lot of people request it, and I have given this a thought. I might do the sacrifice at some point, but I do have there has actually been a couple people that I know who even started to work on it. They started working on a No Mercy campaign, and they couldn't even finish the first episode because there wasn't enough dialogue. So there's proof there that it might not work, but the Sacrifice, it should work. So maybe
yeah,
I'll
because
do that.
I know they recorded a bunch of lines for the Sacrifice that was like unique to the comics too.
Yeah, so I reckon that one could work. But then again, I'll have to see because I'm more focused on Left 4 Dead 2. That's sort of my main passion. And I do have a friend who has actually started working on a Sacrifice campaign. Now, I'm not going to give it away yet. I'm not going to, because he has started working on it. But just in case he doesn't follow through with it, I'm not going to, direct people over to it just yet. But yeah. I'll see what happens.
Will you contribute any kind of work into that work, or is it just going to be exclusively him?
I think it's going to be exclusive to him, but if he needs some help, I'll be happy to help him out. So we'll see what happens.
Now we've covered all of your work. Now we got to get into Beejie the person. Now this one I was excited to talk about. Who is your favorite survivor, and why is Nick sexy as fuck?
Who's my favorite survivor? Well, I don't know if I have a most favorite. Well, my most favorite survivor would probably, it'd have to be either Rochelle or Nick. But yes, to answer that second question, wait, what was it again?
Why is Nick sexy as fuck? You put the meme on yourself, because when we were recording the Rochelle Survivor profile, I didn't write Nick is sexy as fuck. You put that on yourself.
I know, but I just thought it'd be something fun. I didn't know it was gonna blow up to become an actual meme. I really didn't think. And I had like 20 people messaging, quoting me that as soon as that video released. I was like, whoa, what the fuck? I've never found another character from a game or anything attractive, but Nick, he's very handsome for a video game character. I'm sorry, but it's the truth.
You're not one of those women that put the hickey on his neck, did you?
Oh, I don't know. Was I?
You went quiet on that one. Now, you said Rochelle was up there too, alongside Nick. Now, you staunchly defend Rochelle because she was voted as the least popular survivor. All the SFMs out there put her as the dumbass, the mute person, the one that's kind of the donkey amongst the group. What do you have to say in her defense? Because everyone's just always making fun of her and just says she's just not an interesting character.
Well, obviously we all have opinions. I'm not saying not everyone's gonna love Rochelle, which is fine, but I just feel like the cruel hate is just unnecessary. And it's continued since the game first came out. I thought everyone would get over it and sort of grow up a bit, but apparently not. I feel it's a shame that most of her lines were cut from the game, because she does have a lot of really good lines, and I didn't realize she's quite badass. She's really nice. I especially love her friendship with Ellis. She's very motherly with him. She's really sweet. Look. And it annoys me when a lot of people call her a bitch, and then after, especially how Nick is, everyone says she's a bitch. Well, what about Nick? The way he acts and that,
Exactly.
I don't know.
Kind of like the stigma. Well, the thing is, Rochelle never acts in a bitchy way. She's just kind of she's sassy.
She's not a bitch. She's just sassy. Yeah.
Well, Nick is a complete dick.
Yeah, I know that one of the main reasons to her hate is because a lot of people compare her to Zoe, and which is a shame, because it'd be good if we could just respect both of them and not worship one and just completely despise the other, but can't change that. But I'm happy that a lot of people have actually started to really like Rochelle because of my SFM series, because I'm really showing her true potential. She's not a dumbass. She's not the Meg Griffin of Left 4 Dead.
That's a good way to put it. Everyone does kind of put her in that light.
Yeah.
Now, I remember talking to you a while back about Rochelle, and she had some of her voice lines omitted from the final game release, but it was still in the coding of the game. Do you incorporate those voice lines into your campaigns?
Yeah, I've already used a couple of them. There was one where Whitaker, and she said something like,
"Shit, I think I accidentally grabbed Diet Cola. We should go. Hey, thanks, Whitaker!"
That was cut, and I put that in the campaigns, and I saw a lot of people actually really liked that. That was cool.
Yeah, because I never heard that line, and it kind of threw me for a loop. I was like, man, I don't remember her saying that at all, and I played that campaign hundreds of times.
Yeah, it was cut, unfortunately, and there's a lot of her lines that was cut. There's actually one in particular in the parish, I can't wait, and I think I've already used it in my recordings videos. There's one where she says, "I'm not showing anyone my tits."
Because the Mardi Gras thing when you throw the necklaces?
Yeah. If only they kept that in, that would have been great, but no, they cut it. But luckily, there are ways of getting the cut lines back into the game with
Oh
mods.
yeah, I've seen in your playing with your friends stuff when you use the voice lines. There's a lot of tits action going on. Now I'm just going to go into your professional side of you besides the quirky side. Do you have any aspirations beyond your YouTube channel in the future when it comes to animation? What would be your dream job or profession if you didn't have YouTube in the future?
I would love to, something animation related. I feel like if I do move on from YouTube after this, I would totally love to work on proper animation for Pixar or DreamWorks or something.
I could see you doing that because you work with 3D animation highly to a certain degree. I could see you moving to a new program, learning that from scratch, and just developing it. Because when you started SFM and what's the other one called, Gmod, did you self-teach your stuff? Did you watch YouTube videos? What did you do to really get to that degree?
Oh, I tried to watch those tutorials for Source Filmmaker. I couldn't understand them. I self-taught myself the program. I just spent a whole month just going through, practicing, making a few test animations, and I just got better and better as it went on.
So basically just keep going, keep trying, because it'll look overwhelming, but you'll just get tiny little tidbits here and there to the point to where you just overall knowledge of the program will be more than what you don't know. Yeah,
and you can sort of tell that I self-taught myself because that very first Source Filmmaker film I made with Ellis scaring Zoe, the animation is terrible. It's very glitchy. I didn't know how to sort of smoothen out the animation back then. I didn't know how to transition it, in a smooth way. So that's why.
Well, it's your first one, so it makes sense.
Yeah, but it was all self-taught, so.
Well, awesome.
I couldn't understand those tutorials. It was just hard to understand. And the dude talks so fast. When you're trying to learn something and they're talking fast, you're wait, what do I do? What was that step? Oh, what?
I started going to look into the animation, but with my YouTube channel and I have working 2 jobs, it's just I really don't have the time to learn this program right now. I want to at some point, but I looked at some of the tutorials and I was already getting overwhelmed. So I completely understand where you're coming from on that. Now, I was going to ask, when are you coming to America?
I would like to go to America at some point, actually. I've always wanted to sort of go there. I'll have to see what happens, but yeah, I'd like to go there at some point.
Okay.
In the future.
Now, one of my last questions I wanted to throw out there was, for anybody that's wanting to get into animation, doing the SFM stuff, or if they wanted to go into Microsoft Paint like you did, I know Microsoft Paint's kind of a relic now, but just getting in animation in general, what would you say to them to really get them started out or inspire them to follow that passion? What got you started? What made you just say, I'm going to start doing this?
It was just something I always wanted to do, just the style of, if you have an idea in your mind, you picture a cartoon or something in your head and you can bring it to life, on a program, it's really nice. I don't know what I'd say to them, to be honest. Just, follow your dreams or whatnot. If you have an idea, just bring it to life. There's nothing more satisfying, even though it's a lot of work. There's nothing more satisfying, just watching that character come to life in an animation you did.
Exactly.
It's a nice feeling, and it's especially awesome when you show someone and they enjoy it. People get joy out of that. It's a really nice feeling. So,
that comes with anything, and when it comes to the fields of art and creation, when you create something, there's always the barrier of, oh, this probably sucks, I really shouldn't keep doing this, what's the point in doing this, I really should just stick to something that's serious professions or put your time and effort into something more serious. But when you actually see something growing from that and people actually start seeing you're making something out of it and they take it more seriously, you're looking at it and saying, well, there was always the doubts out there. You always have to push past the doubts.
Yeah.
Did you ever face those doubts when you first started the animations and everything?
Yeah, I did a lot, for all of it, because, they're obviously, especially, the Microsoft Paint cartoons, there was it was really difficult in some particular moments, but, or something that might not have worked out, but I just tried to push through it, and, especially in Source Filmmaker, too. There's been, particular moments where it felt like I can't do this, especially one of the most difficult, the thing with Nick and Bill in the latest thing I've done, I had that idea in my mind, and when I was making, I was like, how the hell am I going to do this? Because this has to be serious, it did take a while, and I just tried to push through it, and I just tried to do each bit as much as I could, and the more I just tried of it, it turned out well. So you take your time, and that you never rush, and just do your best, and I feel like it doesn't have to be 100% perfect, because if it is, I don't know, it's all for fun. You got to remember to have fun with this stuff, I suppose.
Yeah, it's the most important
yeah.
part, because if you're not enjoying, because I remember watching Lone Wolf HBS and him posting that he wasn't enjoying making his like animations anymore to a certain degree,
Yeah.
and he was kind of stopping that. And it kind of sucks to see the joy in something that you put so much time and effort in the past and you enjoyed be sucked out. But what I would say is continuing that passion, and as long as you're enjoying it, that's what's most important.
Yeah, that's what I worry about, that might happen with me. So, but yeah.
That's what the creative mind is. You always fear that a burnout might happen. And sometimes you might just have to take a break, take as much time as you need, and then you can look back or go back in front of that screen.
Yeah.
And that it might be rekindled, it might not, but it's always about progression and developing yourself.
Yeah, if you're not enjoying it, you can't push it yourself to just keep doing it just for others. Like, you got to make sure you're enjoying it, because otherwise it just won't be any fun.
Now, another thing I wanted to ask is, what is it like being the writer, the producer, the script writer, the animator, basically you do all of this yourself? So the process for it, how time consuming is it to go from, do you write these out on a script? How do you put these together to go from just words on a Microsoft Word document to Nick and Ellis just fighting over something on screen?
I'd write down ideas, obviously, and I think I get the map of whatever episode I'm doing, and I sort of like put a camera in like each particular part of the map, and like, so it's like a scene, I don't do anything in the scene, and then I just sort of get the script ready of what I'm going to do, and including sound effects and whatnot. I just try, even though nothing's happening and there's just the sounds, I try to imagine what it's going to look like, and then that's when I got the idea ready, and then I just start making the
So
scene.
you kind of ad-lib it? You don't like pre-position everything in your head? You don't have it all plotted out in your head, you just kind of let it go?
Yeah, obviously ideas and that I already have in my head, and I just try to picture it, how it's gonna look, and that's sort of how it works.
Okay, so you don't rack your brain too much beforehand on how it's going to turn out. You just have ideas that kind of piece together like a puzzle.
Yeah, because a lot of the stuff I put in these, like with the special infected, actual things that I've experienced on the game itself. So like if they get smoked, or if they get ridden by a jockey in one particular part, like it's already something I've experienced on the game, and I keep that in mind. I'm like, I'm going to use that for this, I'm going to use that for this, and so that's why I play a lot of Left 4 Dead 2 itself, like just so I can get more inspiration for what I'm going to do.
Of course. Well, I think that about covers everything I was going to ask. Well, is there anything else you wanted to throw out there for your fans that might still be listening at this point?
I don't know, thank you for watching my videos, and it means a lot, all the nice comments. I'll try and obviously upload another preview at some point of what I'm working on.
Well, thank you, Beejie, for being my first guest and my working title of Wow Such Interviews. I guess I'll call it that for now.
It's okay, thank you for having me.
Well, until next time, we had Beejie Bean in talking about her animations and where the channel's going and why you should stop bugging her about fucking Dark Carnival. She's getting there. Just remember, Nick's sexy as fuck. We're gonna keep that meme going. At least I will. I like memes. And thank you, Beejie, once again.
It's alright. Thank you for having me.